I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Roy Candy.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a game unimaginatively titled The Number.
Could have been called The Integer.
Oh, Mr. Integer. And it could be like a spy theme. Seriously.
Mr. Integer is a better name than The Number.
Mr. Integer, and then you could have like the pulled up like dun dun dun, like the black eye. It could have artwork. That'd be great artwork. Think about these things.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I don't want
This
to show my hand too soon.
This is a game from Repos Productions, and Repos Productions has really big hits. They're little party games.
Oh, for sure.
Just One is a mega hit. You know, So Clover is a pretty big hit. Their other game, Fun Facts, was nominated for Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't think it's in the same line because it's a smaller box.
Right.
But it's also designed by Hisashi Hayashi, who's pretty well known. He's a very popular designer from Japan. It's also called The Number. So this is a game in which you're trying to outthink everybody else by writing a number. Let me show you. The easiest way to explain the game is to just play it. Each game is going to be split into two rounds, and each round has 5 turns. So each player is going to have a board in front of them like this, but you're also going to take this, and each turn you're simply going to write a 3-digit number. These numbers are then all placed down, and I have to say here, folks, this, you can't see it on video, but this is slightly indented on each of these so that when you mix them up in the middle, they don't rub off. Once everyone's put out their numbers, you're going to put them here from the highest to the lowest number. So they would look like this. So then you start with the highest number. I look at all the digits in it. Are any of those digits represented below? Yes, there's a 9 here, so this one's out. 766, no, nothing. 499, there's a 4 here. So these are the 2 that are left. So the yellow player is going to score 7 points, and the blue player is going to score 4 points. So whatever number you wrote here. Now the yellow player, since they have the highest, they're also going to get a bonus. So you'll see in round 1, the bonus is 2. So I write 9 there. That's how many points yellow is going to get. Yellow also is going to cross off 7 and 6, all the digits they used. Blue is going to cross off 4 and 0. You can no longer use these numbers in a future round. So you'll keep doing that. You'll notice the bonus, not only does the bonus get higher, in the final round, your points are doubled. After you're done, let's say yellow scored nothing for these, but then scored a 3 here, and then in the last round, they scored a 5. So I would then look at all the numbers that were crossed off. So 5 numbers are crossed off. I add all these together, write it here, and also put that information back here. Everything then gets erased from your board, and you play another round. You add your 2 round scores together, and whoever's the highest points is the winner. Okay, so this is such an odd duck of a thing, and it really...
Odd Duck. That would have been a good name. And then you're duckies, right? And you're trying to pick the right odd number.
Look, I don't care. That was easy. Give it a garbage for it. I mean, it's one of the plainest looking games in existence.
Right.
But I don't care that it's that. It's just that I played this multiple times now, and I read on the internet. I was looking at people who like it. They're like, oh, the meta game. I don't know. I mean,
The choices aren't that interesting. I mean, yeah, you could write a bunch of the same number and you're less likely to get caught if you make it really low. Or you could do a bunch of different numbers and then hopefully get the points for different stuff. That's the whole game. You know?
Yeah, it's this is the game, right?
Yes.
No, this is not the game. This is the number.
This is the number for sure.
I can appreciate little decisions like the more different numbers you cross off are bonus points at the end of each round. I get that. So you're incentivized to write more different numbers.
And you're taking a risk doing so.
Yeah. So do you do it with a 7 in the lead or a 1? Well, probably the 1. You know what I mean? But is someone else going to go lower than you? I don't. It's odd. I understand that there's a meta that develops, and there certainly has been each time that we've played this. I don't know if that meta is terribly interesting, is the problem.
And sometimes you get to that last round and you can be like, oh, they have all these crossed off. They can't get me here.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's the obvious choice to do, right?
Right.
Do you feel that the crossing the number off, which gives you 1 extra point, is worth the danger? I don't think you should almost ever write a 3-digit number. Maybe unless you write
3 different integers.
yeah,
you
3
mean?
different ones.
Times are playing different. My number's 4.
Well, right, 0. Right.
It depends
Yeah,
on how
4.
low you are, right? Like if you're going really low, you can write a bunch of different numbers to try to knock everybody else
Yeah,
out.
that's it. You can
But
write
if
a
you're going
1,
high, you need to be
1,
all the same
7,
number.
8 is good to knock out 7s and 8s above you.
But in their example in the box here, this number is 968. You
Why
should
would
never
you?
write 968.
Right, you should not.
But
That's a
why
terrible
would you
idea.
do that?
Right.
If it's the last round and you know that 9, 6, and 8 are safe,
You could write 999.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
999
mean,
would be
you
way
cross out
safer.
more different numbers, right?
Yeah, but that's like a very specific
That's
situation.
the situation shown on the back of the box.
No, it's not, because that number got knocked out.
Well, that person's
then
a
that
dummy.
person's a bad player. I will say this. I think the game is better with fewer.
Yeah.
I will also say this. They're pitching this as a party game, which you would think would be better with more.
What would you say your optimal player count would be?
Zip.
That's what I was hoping for.
Oh, my word.
Yes.
Okay, here's the thing.
Softballed that one.
So, Z and I went to a convention one time where they had a game which everyone wrote a number down and submitted it, and whoever wrote the lowest number that nobody else wrote won a prize. That was you think about it for like a minute. You're like, ooh, maybe 7, or whatever, or 36. Maybe that many other people picked the lower numbers. And the number every year changes. Sometimes the lowest number is 11. Sometimes it's 32. It depends. That's an interesting exercise. I can also see this game being an interesting exercise. We're in the car, and I'm like, it's that kind of game. It's like an advanced rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, let's all write numbers down or whatever. Oh, that's interesting. And if let's say Chris was a budding game designer and brought this to me and showed this to me, because Roy wouldn't do that. Not for this.
Roy wouldn't design this.
Roy wouldn't bring this to me. I would say, well, that's interesting. How can you take that and build a game around it?
I'm glad I have the repertoire that I wouldn't design this.
What you're talking about there with the example, like, write the lowest number. Okay, right? But if it was like write the lowest number and you get that many dollars, now you have a game, right? You
Right.
take that idea and you develop a little bit. This is a neat idea. Each time I've played it, there's been funny moments. We've kind of laughed. Oh man, I got eliminated. I wrote 776. I thought that would be safe for some reason or whatever, right?
Right.
Yes.
I really wanted to knock out the 6 and the 7.
Right. Or like I
Yeah.
wrote 777 thinking it'd be super safe, and someone wrote 700. I'm above them. I got knocked out. I'm like, oh, oops, got it. You learn things as you keep playing it. It's just that it's so dry.
Right. I mean, this is. I don't think it's very fun to play. It's an exercise, like you said. I would take this to a classroom to inspire them to think outside the box, to maybe, like, again, develop group thinking or develop, like, a meta, around an activity. It's an interesting curio almost more than it is a good game. It's a weird thing. The fact that this went all the way from a bizarre, mathy kind of idea to this, a published game that somehow kept the title The Number, blows my mind. It really does.
I think you were the one that said this. It feels like a game out of a book. Like a 1001.
100%.
Yeah.
I do agree with that statement.
Yeah, 1001 games you can play with paper and a pencil. You're like, oh,
Right.
okay. It feels like that. And it got like a good production from Repos.
Right.
The board has a little bit of not dual layer, but like when you write numbers on it and flip it over, the area where you write numbers is recessed a little bit, so it doesn't wipe off on a tablecloth.
Right.
Like it has good production for what feels like that. Like, page 712. Let's try the number.
And to be fair, it's
Yeah.
not that expensive of a game. It's a fairly inexpensive game. And I think some people will get a blast of it. I do. I think
some people are going to have a good time. It just doesn't feel like, again, the audience there is going to have a little bit of a tricky time finding an audience. It kind of looks like it might be a party game. They kind of pitch it like, have a blast with numbers and I don't know. And again, Repos. I think their line of party games.
It's very solid.
Yeah, so I'm worried. I'm not worried. I think this is going to get lost in the shuffle because it looks generic. And the whole thing just doesn't really have...
That was
There's
more
no
exciting than
hook.
the game.
Like, where's the hook? You know what I mean? Maybe it needs to be, some sort of stacking, you throw it off the table kind of game like you just did.
Sorry. Roy, what would you give it? Give it a number.
I'm worried about going too high and getting knocked out, so I'm going to give this a 3. I really don't think it's
We're not knocking out the highest rating.
We're knocking out the highest rating. I mean, I'm never going to play this game again. I don't really think I would necessarily recommend it. I could see people doing it as an activity. I mean, trying it out. I mean, it's not just completely unplayable or anything like that. But I thought there was going to be more deduction there and trying to outsmart your opponents. So for me, it's going to be pretty low as a 3.
Z?
We would get a 4.
Yes, knock Z out.
I could see myself playing this again at 3, ideally. It's just not. It's not very joyful. I found it to be. It's kind of plain. It's not brain dead either. There are things to think about there. I just don't want to because the return is not fun. Oh well, your 6s are gone. Yeah, but you still have your 6s, so I'm going to take a stab at writing, a number that begins with a 6, and oh no, never mind, you did write the 6. Great, I'm knocked out. Or whatever. So, it's just not titillating. Nothing about this. I'm like, yeah, put the number on the table. No.
I'm waffling. I'm going to go on, I'm giving it a 4. You know what I mean? It sounds so mean. But it's not what we're going for. It just really is. Like, I don't have a lot of incentive to come back to this. I couldn't guess who this is for. If you told me your taste in games, at no point would I say, I bet you'll like the number.
That's the thing, right? Because it's not deduction, not really. You have to be okay with no theme, because there's no theme in it. It's not pretty. Yeah, right, what do they have to say where you go, the game for you is the number?
Yeah, so, I agree with what's been said.
I think I am the target audience for this. To some
Really?
degree. I'm giving it a 6.
If you like Le Havre, then you'll like the number.
I'm giving it a 6, which is still not that high.
6 is like
really.
a 9 in this company.
Yeah, I know, that's no kidding. Because I was amused when I played it. I just don't know that I'm ever going to play it again. I wouldn't pull it out. But if you pull it out and say, let's play it, it's 15 minutes. I'm kind of interested in the rock, paper, scissors number thing. I find it an intriguing exercise, but that's it. If I was a teacher, I would definitely use this in my class.
That's kind of where I'm at.
But
right.
I would not use it other than that. So it's not that I dislike it as much as others. I just also don't care if I play it again. So I'm giving it my meh rating, which is a 6. It's fine. But I wouldn't say I disliked it. Like, I know some of you guys actively disliked it. I wasn't there. I was like, well, I enjoyed that. But 5 is insanity, though. You're just randomly writing numbers. Because you don't know. There's 4 other people writing numbers.
Oh,
someone's
5
going to knock you out. 5 players.
Got it.
I think you're giving it a 5. I was like, I
I'm
almost
giving it a
gave it a
6.
5.
5 is insanity. I'm like, what?
5 players. Sorry.
Got it.
Anyway.
We got confused with the numbers.
You know what? I changed my rating to a 5 because I forgot how much I hate this name. You're right. I can't. The numbers are terrible.
5 is insanity, Tom. You're giving it a 5?
I've changed it to a 5. I forgot how much I hate the name and the packaging. The game itself looks fine, but it's like they put this on the shelf so it won't sell. Seriously, whoever okayed this, I'm like, really?
I don't know. This honestly to me feels like a weird tax write-off loop. like they're
We need it to
trying-
not be profitable, is what you're trying
Yeah,
to say?
something. Like something's happening. I'm sorry.
DC Studios cut Batgirl.
I think-
We're going to publish the number.
I think this might be like a secret test. Like if you win the number 6 times in a row, you get a letter in the mail from an undisclosed.
But it's just a letter. L.
Ooh, you're ruining my joke. All right. Anyway, that's the number. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Mr. Integer Chris.
I'm Roy Kennedy.
I'm Z Garcia.
Have fun counting.